Hey, are we live? Are we live now? Are we live? Let me make sure. Let me make sure. Am I live? Okay. Welcome back, Dukes and Dukettes. It's your man, Eddie Ed. It's Eddie Ed TV. Back with another live stream. Goodness gracious, guys. If you haven't already, let's do the intros. If you haven't already, smash the like button. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and turn on your notification bell so you know when I go live. We are back in live. I'm excited to be back live. I'm excited to be back. We could do different lives too. We're going to do different lives, but I'm back with another Scary Saturdays. I said, hey, let me just come back with a Scary Saturdays because you guys already are familiar with that. So, but we're going to be doing different types of lives. Man, lots been going on my side. Oh, we got Sergeant George. Welcome in. Appreciate you for stopping by. Yes, indeed. We have Scary Fridays. This is pretty much where we look at some scary stories, man. Scary videos, scary stories. If you guys have any suggestions, you guys could, drop it down in the comments below. I've been going through some YouTube drama or some YouTube. I don't know how to even say it, but basically YouTube has been beating me up, man. YouTube has been putting me on probation and all this other stuff. I got a lot of personal things on my side. I'm planning and working out, good things. But it's been crazy. It's been a lot of different things. So that's kind of why I've been back and forth, kind of like gone for a while. I know you guys are probably like, dang, man, I'm falling off with this consistency thing, but my editor software is jacked up, so I can't really make videos at the moment. So I had to do everything pretty much live and things like that. So I'm still trying to figure that out. I've tried a lot of different techniques to fix that, but it hasn't been working. So I'm just all around just tired of having these issues. But nevertheless, man, we are here with another Scary Friday or Scary Saturdays. My bad, Scary Saturdays, and I'm glad to be back, man. Glad to interact with you guys, hear from you guys once again. Yeah, drop your comments down in the comment section if you're watching the playback, man. Let me know your thoughts, and if you're here live, man, interact with your mans. Interact with your mans, guys. We're gonna start off with like a funny video just to get more people in or wait for the people that's trying to come in. So we're gonna start off with a little bit of a funny video. Let me switch the scene right here. Make sure we're Am I in the right thing? Okay. Here we go. There we go. All right. Let's watch this as we wait for the others to hop on in.
Yeah, no.
Oh, and by the way, is the sound good? Let me check. Let me check the sound. Okay, the sound is good. The sound is good. Let's go ahead and continue. Oh, Benny, I've been good. I've been good. Just a lot of stuff going on, and you know, if you missed the beginning, YouTube has been playing a lot of games with me, but we're back on track. I think I'm off probation now, so so we're back with action. But dealing with outside stuff, good stuff, but just trying to, man, really just make this content. I've been missing making this content for you guys and with you guys. I got some problems with my devices that I'm trying to fix. My editing software is still messing up, so I'm just trying to do these lives, make sure I stay connected, and just really make this content as you guys are here for. So let's get started with this video as we're waiting for some more people to come in, and then we'll get started with the scary stuff. But we're just gonna do this until some more people come in. We'll start.
No, y'all could just.
Oh yeah, this is from what's this channel's name? This is from Nowsy, a funny guy.
Go ahead, eat without me. I'ma just eat some because I bought some food yesterday, bro. I've been waiting for this all day. Swear to God, bro, it's the best. And I was trying to tell you that because you know I got this specific Chipotle bowl I be getting. But I'm trying to tell you, you get that, you not like you gonna.
Hey, speaking of Chipotle, man, Chipotle, man, there's some workers that are, I don't know why, but they're either scared to give you a full serving, or it's just like they just want to ruin your meal or something. I don't know what is with Chipotle. Not every worker. Some workers hook you up. I like some days you go and it's this person that just will give you a nasty scoop, like a big boy scoop, right? And then there's this ones that just like will give you barely a full scoop. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you don't get paid extra to save this meat. I promise you. You don't get paid extra. You ain't getting the bonus for that or nothing. But it's like some of those workers that just want to give you like the bare minimum of the scoop. Give me a full scoop. Literally, actually, the other day I went to Chipotle. The guy was so basically the chicken, the El Pastor, right? It was a little bit of El Pastor left in there. I'm talking about probably worth a full scoop left. The guy gave me a full scoop, but it was like 5 pieces of chicken left in the thing. And he just left it. Like, what are you doing, bro? Give me the full scoop, bro. Anyway, man, y'all can see the passion in my voice about that, but I'm just saying, some people just act like they got to follow the rules to the T. It was 5 pieces of chicken. You got to switch it out anyway. Just give me the 5 doggone pieces. Bless me. Let's continue this video. It's not even about me.
I'm gonna eat Chipotle every day, bro. I'm trying to tell you.
Alright, I got you.
So welcome, Eddyed. We've been hey man, appreciate you. Was it? Did you change your name? Is it Jamal or? I see Jamarian. My bad if you didn't, because it's been a while. But shout out to Jarrell.
Yeah, so y'all just let me know. Let me know whenever y'all like getting ready to head there. I'm about to go eat real quick, and I'm gonna shower, and I'm gonna just be right over to your place.
Alright, we got you. That's cool, man.
All right, bet.
Alright, be safe.
Tripping in the latest shit, that boy he still drink out the tea. Damn, yeah, I told you I want some other shit. Real shit, I ain't rich until my brother rich. I just pull up on your side like what's up with it. Hold that, yeah, fill my cup with it. Down bad, I just know who to put my trust up in. It's a different type of lit. Shouldn't even
Oh Lord.
Yo,
Did you see? I had a Chipotle bowl in here.
you talking about the joint with the pinto beans in it? Oh yeah, I ate that. I ain't gonna hold you. I ate that joint.
What you mean?
Hey, this can't be happening. This like in real life, roommates. I don't know why some people think they have access to people's food, but you can't be out there eating people's stuff. That don't make like. Actually, matter of fact, somebody recently got shot for that in the cheeks. The guy got shot by his roommate because he ate the last Hot Pocket or something about his Hot Pocket. Touching people's food is dangerous.
What do you mean you just ate it?
I don't really understand any other way you could have interpreted that.
How you just grab something in the fridge
Look
that
at
don't belong to you
audacity.
and just eat it?
Yeah,
I mean,
for
it was
real.
there for a minute. Like ain't nobody claiming or nothing. Like I asked the house.
Nah, here,
That
but you
don't
should
matter,
go do
bro.
groceries if you that hungry, bro. Like I literally had that in here since yesterday.
Bro, come on, yesterday. Come on, it's fast food, bro. Yesterday is a long time. For
And look, people like there's some people that does this type of thing, like tell you when you're supposed to eat your stuff because it was in the refrigerator. This dude had it since yesterday. It's not even been. It hasn't been a week or a couple days. That's crazy, bro.
fast.
I've been watching your horror stories YouTube lately. Hey, I appreciate it. Benny.
Food. You don't just put fast food in the fridge.
Like I've been planning to eat that since yesterday. That was my lunch and my dinner.
It's fast food for a reason. You're supposed to eat it as soon as you get it.
But you don't understand. I was planning for that meal, Lean.
I mean, my fault, bro. I don't know what
Ain't
you want
laughing,
me to do. I mean, I done already ate it. What you want me to
Check
throw
his
it back
chin.
up? You want me shit in my hand to
Check
give it to
his
you?
chin, baby.
Like it's gone, bro.
Tap his chin.
Hey, nah, I see why you be getting that bowl, bro. I ain't gonna hold you, bro. If
And
you is that
matter
day,
of fact, you gotta pay me back. You gotta give me my money back. You gotta pay me half or something. Like, what is right? If it was a full joint, you gotta give me my full money back. Or I'm tapping your chin. You're gonna have some loose teeth, and I'm gonna lay you down. We got something's gotta happen.
that was in that joint and the corn. Hey, nah, that joint was hitting.
All right, but I mean, I had 2 Chipotle bowls. I had one for lunch and one for dinner. Where the second one at?
Oh, I hate the second one.
Why would you eat my bowl?
I mean, I had seen Lean take the first bowl, so I took the second one. I just figured it was. I mean,
Bro, why y'all eating my stuff?
I mean, normally I would have had my own shit, but I haven't been grocery shopping in like a couple weeks to a month, so I mean, like, it was food in the refrigerator.
See, I thought the same thing. That's what I'm trying to tell you, bro. I thought the same exact thing. It was just right there, right?
Yeah, I thought the same thing.
Yeah, but you ain't even ask.
I didn't. I mean, I thought you wouldn't mind because you normally be sharing and stuff. So
Hey, what do you expect us to do? Not eat?
That was my lunch and dinner.
my fault. I mean, I ate the food. So I put it on myself. But I just.
So when I was supposed to eat?
I thought normally you be sharing. So that's my fault.
Normally you
That's
be
my
sharing.
fault.
Hey, nah, you should have got the brown rice. It hit harder with the brown rice. The white rice,
Hey,
For real?
it's good,
Is
but the
his
brown rice
nails
is where it's
painted?
at. And then the pinto beans.
Oh damn! Pinto beans would have hit. Nah, yeah, I had black beans in
Hold on,
mine.
bro.
It was the black in the bowl that you ate earlier?
Yeah, I had black beans in mine.
Yeah, nah, you gotta get the pinto beans.
Yo, he painted his nails, bro.
Mine.
It was
What's
the
up
black
with
in the bowl that you ate earlier?
Yeah, I had black beans in mine.
Yeah.
Hold on, man. I'm getting a phone call from my. All right, I'll talk to you. My bad, guys. Just talking. But anyway, let's continue this thing. He painted his nails, guys.
Yeah, nah, you gotta get the pinto beans, bro. The pinto beans.
That's why it hit.
I'm saying, bro, what made you put that combination together,
You
bro?
good. You good. You be knowing exactly what they get, cause that I'm.
That joint was in, cuz.
Nah, yeah. That joint hit.
Bro, I'm trying to tell him.
Like, bro, cause when I go to Chipotle, like I just be asking for the basic stuff. Like I don't be really knowing what to ask for, but for some reason, like you knew exactly what to look for.
You know what's crazy, bro? I don't even be eating Chipotle, bro. That joint good, bro. That joint, I low key was sleeping on Chipotle till today when I ate what I ate, bro.
Like for real, like you.
Nah, I had to call my mom up and tell her about that order, bro.
Nah, yeah, bro, I did the same thing, bro.
Nah, we
I
had to
did the
get some
same
more,
thing,
bro. That joint was hidden,
Hey,
bro.
just
Bro,
hit
I
him
put
already.
everybody on.
You done
Smack
switched up some shit.
Nah, you be knowing what you doing, man.
You done switched up some shit now.
Like Chipotle need to cut you a check for real.
You
Like,
done switched up some shit now. I don't usually be eating like that. But hey, I may have to say effort to my diet, bro.
bruh, I said the same thing. I said the same thing,
Bro,
bruh.
the pinto beans and the brown rice.
You different, man. You
I'm gonna be moving out next month.
He gonna be moving out next month. Yeah, I don't know what's up with these painted the nails thing. That's kind of crazy. I don't know. But I don't know why people want to do something like. People want to be so different these days. They just do unorthodox things. You know what I mean? But hey, we are here for Scary Fridays live stream. Let's get into our first one. Now, as you guys know, everybody like vacation. At least I assume everybody loves to go on vacation. If you don't love to go on vacation, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know why not. But it probably might be scarred from some experience in the past. I don't know. But we got 3 scary true vacation stories, okay? Now, my imagination goes to hotel, maybe possibly Airbnb, maybe different country. It could be. You know, cause I heard some really crazy stories like going to Brazil and all that stuff. Like man, if you guys know T Pendel, he's a YouTuber, funny guy. He does comedy skits and now he's big on gaming now. So he's doing his thing in the gaming sector. But he had a story time where he went to Brazil, and let's just say there were some ladies over there with meats. There were some ladies with man meats. Whatever that is, that's what it was. That's scary. That's horror to me. That's horror. But nevertheless, this is not that type of scary story, I don't believe. But we'll see what this is about. Let's hop straight into it. Eddyed TV.
My girlfriend and I love skiing. It's how we met. So last year, during both of our vacation times, we Airbnb'd a one-bedroom cabin in Colorado by Vail Mountain. One of my friends told us getting a private cabin was a lot more cozy, peaceful, and romantic.
Okay, it's a cabin story.
After landing at the airport, we taxied to a rental car place and rented a Honda Civic, probably the cheapest car we could get. We drove a constant uphill through the sludge on the roads until we pulled off the main road onto a more foresty side road. Eventually, we made it to the cabin. Far and isolated from anyone else, but not too far where getting to the mountain would be a pain in the ass. The owner left the key hidden in the mailbox. As soon as I unlocked the door and we stepped inside, we got a huge whiff of, I guess, wood. It literally smelled exactly how you'd expect a log cabin to smell. It wasn't huge, but it was spacious enough. One bedroom, one bathroom, decent living room with a TV and a kitchen.
Okay, simple.
I was paying chump change for it, so I was more than happy with it.
So you probably got it almost
Plus,
for free.
we were there to ski, not sit around the cabin.
All right.
We got there towards the end of the day.
like would you, cause like just like he said, he wasn't planning to stay in the house for the majority of the trip. So would you sacrifice, like, would y'all like not mind getting a place that's like subpar or barely decent if you're gonna be outside most of the time, or would you want to have a nice spot even though you may not be spending all day in there and stuff like that? Me personally, I would rather have a nice setting place where I'm gonna come back to than it being subpar, even though I'm not gonna be there. Excuse me. Even though I may not be there for the whole trip, I still would like to come back to a nice spot. So I won't forfeit a nice spot, but he is paying a cheaper price for that. So some people are comfortable with doing that. I have to get like a cheap but nice at the same time. I can't be cheap and ugly. It gotta be cheap and at least decent. Oh, back with some snacks. Yes, sir. Benny doing it right. I was gonna bring some cookies, but I don't have them with me right now.
So we didn't hit the slopes that night. We actually just unloaded and got right back on the road to pick up a pizza for dinner. We got back and ate on the couch in the living room while watching a movie. With the dark, moody lighting and the whole log cabin atmosphere, it actually was quite romantic. Until my girlfriend started freaking out about her bag. Apparently it wasn't where she left it, which was on the coffee table in the living room. I helped her look around, though there wasn't much space to search.
Hey, man.
She was absolutely positive she left it on the coffee table.
Hey, bro.
It wasn't in the bathroom, kitchen, or living room, so I checked the bedroom, and sure enough, it was sitting right next to the bed.
Hey. We got Pancakes in the mix. What's good? He's on his break. Shouts out to Pancakes, man. Original Duke out there. But, man, you ever left something somewhere and you're like, bro, I left it right here. Okay, I promise you, I left it right here. I come back from the bathroom, wherever I came from, and this thing is gone. Now, at that point, you're not expecting anybody, like, probably the first thought to your head is like, it's not somebody coming to grab it. You probably thinking like a ghost, like, or like a spirit or some demon. Like, something had to move it, but not a person, though. That's where my mind goes. Like, if I know I left something at a certain location and it's not there, and I know no one's in the house, I'm like, oh, shoot, it's a demon in here or something. Something's not. But this, I would probably think like, oh man, is somebody in here? You know, because this is a place where, you know, if we left and came back and it left the location I left it at, or it wasn't at the location I left it at, I would probably think a person did it.
I picked it up and brought it to the doorway of the bedroom with a smirk on my face.
Shouts out V!
My girlfriend didn't seem as relieved as I thought she would be, though. She accused me of moving it and going through her bag, which I found downright insane. We had a bit of an argument until I convinced her that she in fact put her bag in there and that she had just forgotten. We went back to eating and watching the movie, and we got over the argument quickly. The next day, we hit the slopes from early morning till dusk. We stopped on the way back to the cabin to get dinner again. When we returned back to the cabin, we both immediately noticed the living room light was on. My girlfriend was slightly freaking out. I told her to chill. The front door was still locked, so that confirmed nobody had broken in. I thought obviously one of us left the light on by mistake and didn't notice earlier because it was bright out.
Nope.
So once again, we ate our food and watched a movie. When suddenly, out of nowhere, my girlfriend shrieked. I jumped up and looked at her. She had one hand covering her mouth, the other pointing at something on the ground.
Oh, boys. I don't know what this is, but it don't sound like what I think it is. You have to be careful going vacation. Yep.
At first I didn't see it, but when I got up confused and moved closer, I saw it. It was a pair of somewhat fresh boot marks in the rug in the corner of the living room.
Woo!
The snow from the boots had melted into wet stains in the area rug. Obviously both of us wore boots, but I just didn't remember stepping over there.
Nah, you didn't step there.
My girlfriend asked me to check around the cabin
You
to
ain't
make her
step there,
feel
dog.
safe.
You got it. Hold on. Do y'all got a gun?
I peeped under the kitchen table, behind the living room couch, in the bathroom, and I took a peep in the bedroom.
Took a peep with no
There didn't
weapon?
appear to be anyone in the cabin. There weren't really many places to hide anyway. Still, she was scared and seemed to lose all interest in the movie. She went to the bathroom and brushed her teeth, then went to the bedroom to change, and I heard her jump into bed. So I did all the same. I climbed into bed and shut the light, and we sat there for a while just talking. It was actually only like 9 or 10 p.m. My girlfriend kept letting me know how uncomfortable she was, thinking someone was in the cabin. So I told her, okay, just wait 1 second. I took out my phone and dialed the Airbnb host. I put the phone up to my ear and heard it ring. I don't mean the ring coming from the phone speaker. I meant I heard a loud, muffled ringing coming from behind the wall next to the bed.
Oh, shoot! Whoa! Oh, Lord. The Airbnb person is a creeper. Oh, no, it can't be. No. Oh, no. Oh, no, son. Bro, and see, going to places like this, you got to be packing something. You got to have a mud-loving gun, some kind of... Bro, you got to have something you could defend yourself with. Like, don't go into an area like this, a cabin in the woods, and be just... Come on, man. I thought we watched enough movies out here to figure out where not to be, or if you are there, what to do or what to have. Like, come on, man. Easy. It's easy money. They got you.
The ringing stopped as soon as I saw my call was rejected.
They got you.
My girlfriend started screaming, "Oh my God." I told her to calm down as I got up and approached the wall to the left. I noticed an ever so slight crack in the wall that looked like it could be a door. My girlfriend screamed at me not to open it, but I got myself angry, yelled, and pulled open the door.
With no weapon.
There I was, faced with a small hidden closet, and inside, a man hiding behind a cardboard box in the corner.
Fudge.
It was the host, the owner of the cabin.
Lord.
I'd seen his picture on the listing. I'll admit, I jumped and screamed in fear and shock when I saw him, but anger overcame me, and I grabbed him by his shirt and pulled him out.
Oh, he must have
I
been a
knew
small
he
guy.
looked creepy based on his picture. He had his hands up, apologizing. I told him to shut up.
Oh, he was a
I
small
looked deeper
fella.
in the closet, and to my disgust, found some of my girlfriend's underwear.
Ugh.
It took way too long for the police to arrive, but he was arrested. We had to spend the rest of that night at a hotel, and the next day we went home. I requested compensation from Airbnb, and it took months for them to refund me, but they eventually did. This story was so bizarre and disturbing, I don't even expect everyone to believe it when I tell it, but it was oh too real.
Oh, this guy was stealing his girlfriend's panties.
You're all on a Carnival cruise, 7
That is
players.
crazy. This guy was stealing lady underwear and probably was wearing it. Hey, man. Goodness.
When my best friend Lizzie and I were 18, we went on our first vacation alone together to London. We were staying at the London Marriott Hotel. The first thing we did upon arrival was, of course, to get there and drop off all our luggage. We'd be there for a whole week, so we had to set our itinerary. It was late in the day already, so we didn't have much time that day, but we did want to see something at least, so we went to see Big Ben, which is that iconic big clock tower that everyone knows in pictures when you think of London.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true.
After that, we went to a nearby tavern for dinner called St. Stephen's Tavern. It was money, but good thing our dads were paying for this trip. After leaving the tavern, it was like 9 o'clock, and we were wanting to go out and experience the nightlife. We agreed we'd first have to go back to the hotel and shower and change first. As we were walking, a young, attractive man overheard us talking about the nearby bars we were looking at on our phones, and he stopped us.
Oh.
Something about him immediately was just charming that grabs both my and Lizzie's attention.
He's like fresh
And
meat.
if it weren't for that, maybe we wouldn't have been so receptive to him telling us about a big apartment party that one of his rich friends was throwing that night, and that two attractive ladies like ourselves would fit right in.
Of course y'all
Lizzie
would.
and I looked at each other
Serious?
and laughed. We said we'd be down, and he said great, the party doesn't start till
go.
11. He asked for my number, so I gave it to him. Then he said he'd text me the details and see us later, and down the street he walked. Lizzie and I were super excited. It was only the first night and we were already invited to a crazy London party. We figured if we played our cards right with the wealthy people at this apartment party, we would have people to hang out with the rest of the trip. We got back to the hotel, showered and changed, and we pre-gamed with a little vodka first to loosen ourselves up.
I don't know how people do it when they go to different places and they meet people for the first time and they go to an actual house party, man. Like, bro, like, I don't know, bro. Why would you think that's cool? I know being friendly is nice and everything, but y'all gotta be smart out here. Like, why would you go to a random person inviting to a house party and you don't even know where you at exactly? That to me, Airbnb is not safe.
I think we drank more than we should have, though.
And
I
you
texted
drank?
the guy we met, realizing we didn't even get his name. He texted back quickly with the address to the apartment, so we loudly marched into the street to wait for our Uber. It was a 15-minute Uber drive to get to the apartment, and when we got there, we couldn't believe how different the architecture of this apartment building was compared to something back home in America. I pressed the code for the apartment, and we were quickly buzzed in. We took the elevator to the 5th floor. We were excited, but nervous, not knowing what to expect. The alcohol was definitely helping, though. I knocked on the door to the apartment, but we didn't hear music inside, which was odd.
Of course not. You gonna,
We were
they
nervous
trying
we
to
had the
get
wrong
you.
apartment, until the young man from earlier opened the door. He hugged us hello, and welcomed us into this dead, quiet apartment.
Exactly.
He shut the door, and we asked, "Where is everyone?" He said, "Oh, it's still early, don't worry." We looked around the apartment, and it was not at all as big as we were expecting for an apparent rich guy. We asked where his friend who owned the apartment was. The man said he was getting things ready in his room.
Bro, these ladies are, it's so many wrong things. It's so many red flags. Or you're drunk, probably, or you're intoxicated. I don't know if you're drunk, but you're intoxicated. You're at a place you don't know. Now you're at a house party. Nobody's at the party. It's too small. Bro, what is let's go, man. I don't want to say anything that might sound too offensive, but this is obviously a setup. Like, immediately, y'all should have been like, oh, you know what? We got invited to another party, so we'll come back here when people get there or get here. You know, something, bro. Get out the house.
He told us to sit and make ourselves comfortable.
Don't
I
drink
remember
nothing.
looking at my phone and seeing it was like 11:30.
Don't drink nothing.
Lizzie
from
and I
the house,
sat
man.
down, and I could tell by her face she was as put off by this as I was.
If they drink something, that it's
The man sat
over.
down on the same couch as us, next to me. He was uncomfortably close.
Ugh.
Suddenly, another man came out from another room.
Oh Lord.
He didn't say anything. He didn't smile. He just looked at us as he walked towards the door to the apartment. And he just stood there. The man on the couch with us started asking us questions like where we were from and if it was just us two visiting here. I started feeling sick to my stomach. The man next to us got up and went to the kitchen to get us some drinks.
Nope.
The man by the door stood there. Lizzie was to the left of me, so she was more hidden from view. I whispered in her ear to dial 911. She did so, and I noticed her tapping on the phone multiple times, indicating to the call taker that we needed help. Lizzie then suddenly called out loudly to the man in the kitchen, "This is apartment 5C, right?" The man at the door said yes in a deep, unfriendly voice. I whispered to Lizzie again that we needed to stall, and not to drink any drinks the man gave us.
Okay. It's clicking in now.
As I was whispering to Lizzie,
Okay.
the man standing at the door called to the man in the kitchen to hurry up with the drinks. And then he came back from the kitchen with the drinks. I had to think on my feet, to stall as long as possible before drinking whatever he just set in front of us. I put on a fake and bubbly persona and said we should play Would You Rather. I know it sounds juvenile, but I had to think of a game that didn't involve drinking. The man seemed to play along with it, so me and Lizzie started coming up with Would You Rather questions. And he started coming up with some of his own, but he would often suggest we take a sip of our drinks, saying the guests would be there soon and that we needed to loosen up some more.
Nah,
I
don't do
stalled
it.
for as long as I could,
Don't do
saying
it. Don't
we
do
already
it.
drank a lot, but we'd be down to drink more in a little bit. I remember when things were about to turn really south. The two men looked at each other. Then the bigger, scarier man at the door came over and said, "All right, drink your drinks." He was about to reach for one of the glasses to probably force in my face.
What?
When there was an aggressive banging at the door, followed by a man shouting police.
Yeah.
The younger man.
Boy, oh boy. Whoa. Oh man. Fourth quarter, last minute shot clock cheese is real. Bro, if they didn't call the cops, they would have been fresh meat.
Man looked at us and asked, "Did you call the police?" I said, "No, why and when would we?" But my voice cracked as I said this, indicating I was nervous. Lizzie apparently just decided the hell with my story and screamed help. The police started to attempt to kick the door down, but the bigger man screamed, all right, and opened the door with his hands up. The two men tried playing innocent. Lizzie and I had to fabricate the story a little bit, saying the two men basically forced us into the apartment and wouldn't let us leave, and that we were pretty sure they drugged our drinks. That was enough to get the men arrested. A second police car arrived to escort us to the station for further questioning. The drinks were tested, and it turned out to no surprise they were roofied. This was definitely a scarring experience, but we didn't let it ruin our trip to London. In fact, we never told our parents until years later just because it would probably make them less likely to let us travel anymore.
Man,
The alcohol definitely didn't help our initial decision making in the night.
Definitely didn't help you.
But our advice would probably be don't ever trust strangers, no matter
Exactly.
what they look like.
Like this is obvious movie stuff. Like let's leave movie out of it. This is reality. This is like just obvious. I really don't get what I mean. They were intoxicated, so their judgment was thrown off. But man, they dodged the bullet for real. They would have got.
When I was 14, my
No
parents
doubt.
took us on a trip to a family resort. It was in the middle of nowhere, and it was the most countryish, old-style resort you could ever imagine. Every building was made of wood. There were big, creepy bugs crawling around. The inside of the resort halls all smelled like cigarettes. I felt too old to be in there with my family, especially since I'm the only boy out of my siblings, and my sisters were 9 and 5 at the time. I tried looking for teens my age to make friends with, but it really seemed like it was just families with younger kids. However, I met this girl who was 15. We met in the little arcade hall when I was with my 2 sisters. She came up to me and said, "Hey." As it turned out, she was staying here with her family too, and she wasn't having a good time either. So we started to hang out. She seemed kind of cool, a little strange, had somewhat gothy vibes to her. Her name was Alyssa. The next day, I ran into her again as I was passing by the pool. She waved me over, and she said let's go for a walk in the woods by the river. As we did, I tried to get to know her more. I asked her what building her room was in. She hesitated before her answer and then said, the one next to the main hall. It was a vague answer. We sat by the river for a while, and I gotta admit, she started talking about some weird, dark stuff. I won't get into it, but I started to think she had some issues.
She has some issues.
Then she looked up at me and said, can we go to your room?
Nope, nah.
I lit up with excitement inside. I was a 14-year-old boy.
You said what?
I think she had some issues. Then she looked up at me and said, can we go to your room? I lit up with excitement inside.
He about to get some
I was
cheeks.
a 14-year-old boy, hormones raging. So obviously I said yes with a little too much excitement in me, imagining the best case scenario.
He was like, yes, yes, bro. He think he gonna get some action. I'm sorry, she might try to stab you up, but son, like.
We got close to my room and she asked for the card to open the door, and she ran ahead to open it.
Setup.
We sat on my bed for a few minutes. I was a bit awkward, so I didn't know how to make a move or if to make a move.
This guy's already trying to make a move.
She started talking about deep, dark stuff again, though. How she hated her family, how she had no more friends, how she likes the feel of blood, whatever that meant.
Hey, man.
Then out of nowhere, she flicked open a huge switchblade and looked at me.
A switchblade? And she looked at you. You getting stabbed up. She got you.
She told me sometimes she thinks about using this on herself or someone else. That was the moment this went from weird to disturbing.
Hey, man.
This wasn't going where I thought it was.
No!
It was actually going in a much darker, scarier
exactly,
direction.
Man. You thought he was going to give you some cheeks?
The way she looked at me with the knife flicked open was scaring me.
Lord.
She looked at me and said, do you want to use this knife on someone here?
Oh, shoot.
I thought over my answer and said, I don't know, I have to think about it. Obviously, I would never. But this girl's true psychotic nature had just come out, and I had to play it safe. I said we should go back outside and walk around. She said okay.
He's scared.
So we went back outside and walked around the resort grounds. I watched the way she looked at people passing by, staring them down, not caring when they would notice. Luckily, I saw my parents straight ahead. And I said, oh shoot, there's my parents. I should probably go hang out with them. Alyssa looked a little bit annoyed. All she said was, okay. I said, see ya, and she just looked at me. I went to my family, and for the rest of the day and night, I stayed with them, hoping to not run into that freaky girl again.
Yeah.
That night, we got back to the room around 9. This resort had huge rooms, so basically I had my own room that was attached to my parents' and sister's room, but it also had its own door into the hall. Anyway, I went to sleep, or at least tried to. Half an hour into laying in bed,
his key card back.
I heard the beep from the door unlocking.
Doggone
and then
it.
the door to my room opening and closing.
Oh, freak.
By the time I fully looked up, the door was shut and the light from the hall was gone. I saw someone standing in front of the door though. Who is it? I said. I heard a familiar girl's voice. I want blood.
Yo,
I sat up and remembered I never got my key card back from
yeah,
Alyssa.
you, bro.
She planned this.
Oh,
She approached my bed in the dark with something in her left hand because she had it lifted. She said it again. I want blood. Will you help me or will I get it from you?
Oh, shoot.
I'm not ashamed to admit it. I screamed like a goddamn girl. She still stood there. She didn't charge at me. She didn't run at first. When my dad burst into the room though, that's when she took off. My dad saw her, and I yelled she was about to kill me. He was about to go after her, but I screamed, don't, she has a knife.
She has a knife, she's gonna stab
Everyone
you,
in the
son.
hall came out of their rooms to see what was going on. We went down to the main office to get some info on this Alyssa girl.
Alyssa's
And out of all the
crazy.
guests, there was no one named Alyssa.
What the heck?
Hell, there were no girls even close to her age staying at the resort at that current time. Police were called and like 4 cop cars showed up and searched the whole perimeter. I think like 2 or 3 cop cars stayed overnight since there were so many kids at the place. The key card lock was changed on our door for the night. A lot of families, including mine, left the next day, and we got a refund for the 2 days we cut short. This whole thing was actually insane. That girl was fucked up in the head, and it's scary knowing she was probably in the early stages of being a completely different monster.
Alyssa wanted to cut something up. That's a fact. I mean, all in all, man, that one story with the drunk girls or the intoxicated girls, like, they obviously were messing up from the jump. Gonna accept an invitation to from a random person. He saw an easy pickup. Easy. I bet they were drunk. I bet they were, like, you know, acting funny and all that stuff. But let's get to the next story. 3 scary, true sleepover stories. Okay, this is also from Mr. Nightmare. I like Mr. Nightmare, man. He tells good stories, but then also I don't get copyrighted from him. He don't strike. He hasn't striked me, so we're trying to avoid getting strike, you know, because YouTube has been pretty brutal, you know, with the strikes. So, nevertheless, let's hop straight into this video from Mr. Nightmare. V said that girl was on the next level. Yeah, she was ready. She was ready to get some blood. Like, if you ever hear a girl say, "I want some blood," that's pretty scary. I ain't never hear that, but man, she was hunting. She was hunting out there. Let's get to the next video. Let's see if it's scary. Oh yeah, we're gonna turn off the lights. We're gonna go ahead and turn off the lights real quick on this one. Let me make sure I'm on the right. Oops. All right. Hold on. All right, we got the lights turned off now. We got the lights turned off. We get a little scarier now. A little scarier. Sleepover horror stories. Oh yeah, if you guys' parents let you sleep over a friend's house, drop a 1 in the chat. Drop a 1 in the chat, and then if you're watching the playback, drop a 1 in the comment section.
Ages ago, when I was a boy, one of my favorite things to do would be to have sleepovers with my friends, especially my friend Joe. Joe had the coolest house layout. It was big, and it had this huge basement with a pool table, air hockey table, and the entire basement looped around in a big circle. And we'd often ride his scooters around the loop in the basement while on our sugar rushes after hours of playing video games and eating junk food. The best part was his parents could never hear us down there, as they slept all the way upstairs. I'll never forget the night that my mom dropped me off at Joe's house after dinner. It was the night before a holiday, so we didn't have school the next day. Joe and I went straight to the basement and started playing one of his new video games on his PlayStation 1. When suddenly the door to the laundry room in the back creaked open.
Uh-oh.
We paused the game and turned around to look. And yes, the door was now cracked open. I told Joe to go check it out. He said it's fine, it happens sometimes. To be honest though, sometimes at night alone in his basement, Joe and I would get spooked. I told him to go shut the door because something about having that door open leading into a big pitch black laundry room was uncomfortable.
Yeah, man.
I think he agreed because he got up to close it. After a while of playing video games, I started riding Joe's bike around the loop of the basement, which honestly was a lot more fun than it sounds. But then something else happened. There was a noise, almost like the sound of a laundry machine door being banged or closed. It came from the laundry room again, obviously. This time Joe and I ran up the stairs freaked out, and Joe called his dad to come check the laundry room. His dad opened the door to the laundry room, had a quick 5-second look, and calmly said there's no one in there. So he went back upstairs to bed, and Joe and I continued to hang out for another hour or two. Then it came time to go to sleep. There were 2 couches down there, one in front of the TV, and then another towards the back of the basement by the bar. I slept on the couch towards the back of the basement. I didn't sleep long though. I woke up and it was still pitch black in the basement. No light shining through the small basement windows. It was still the middle of the night. I rubbed my eyes and sat up after getting this weird feeling of being watched. "Joe?" I said. just checking if he was awake.
Real quick, isn't it crazy how you can feel people staring at you? You know what I mean? You can feel people staring at you sometimes. It's really crazy to think about. It's like the spidey senses. You know, you can feel it.
After saying his name, I heard and saw something moving in the darkness to the laundry room.
Oh, Lord.
And then the door creaked shut. I jumped off the couch to wake up Joe, but when I got to his couch, he wasn't there.
Hey.
That's when I became wise to what was going on. Joe was trying to scare me. I tiptoed to the door of the laundry room. I figured I would reverse it on him and scare him instead. I put my hand on the doorknob, and after a little mental buildup, I yanked the door open and went inside screaming. I turned on the light to the room, but Joe wasn't in there. Where could he be hiding? In that moment, I was beyond confused. I knew he had to be in the room. Then I noticed something through the glass of the dryer machine. I walked over to it and knelt down. Someone was in the dryer machine, crunched up and like a ball. You know how dryer machine doors usually have a sort of tinted glass that's hard to see through? Well, while I knew there was a person in there, it took me a few seconds to catch on that the person that was in the dryer machine looking back at me was not Joe. It was some grown man. I started screaming and ran all the way upstairs to Joe's parents' room. Everyone in the house came out from their bedrooms in response, including Joe. Joe apparently was having a hard time falling asleep on the couch, so he went upstairs to his bedroom. I yelled there was someone hiding in the dryer machine. As Joe's dad started his way storming to the basement, somebody ran through the living room and out the front door. Joe's mom let out a scream as his dad ran outside in his slippers to try to catch the man. Of course, being that he was only in slippers, he didn't have a chance.
This is funny.
When he came back, Joe's mom had already called the cops. When the cops came, they asked me if there was anything specific that I could make out about the man. All I could say was that he was wearing dark clothes. Joe and I slept in his room. I slept on the floor with a blanket, and we kept the door locked. We took a break from the sleepovers for a while after that.
First of all, like, how you gonna try to catch him with slippers, man? It's hilarious, man. That is funny. But I do wonder how the guy got inside the house. Like, literally, was he watching the house and then found a perfect spot to timing wise to just run inside? I really don't know how he could have gotten inside, and that raises questions and concerns on like just being extra careful. I guess when you're going in and out the house to always close the door behind you or something. Like, it's got to be some type of thing you can do to assure these things don't happen. Because how did it happen? Did he break in? They didn't tell us that in the story, so I'm assuming he just found a way in where he didn't have to break in. Crazy. So far, I'm pretty sure you guys aren't scared so far.
Wawa's new ciabatta sandwiches, like bruschetta.
But we'll get into the scarier stuff. It's gradually building as we continue these videos.
This happened quite some time ago. In fact, it happened back in July 2013. It was my 13th birthday party, and my friends and I had been to Manchester for the day, before heading back to my house for a sleepover. A couple of them had stayed over before, but some hadn't, so I wanted to make a good impression. We all decided to sleep downstairs that night, as there wasn't enough room in my bedroom. We gathered our sleeping bags on the living room floor, watched cheesy rom-coms, and ate junk food until around 1 a.m.
Hey.
So we decided to hit the sack after our third movie. We turned off the lights with the exception of one, as although we didn't like to admit it then, we were a little afraid of the dark.
Benny.
It's a common thing to lie awake and chat at a sleepover after you say you're going to sleep. We were in the middle of whispering to each other who we thought our celebrity lookalikes were, when we heard it. A loud knock on our window cut through our conversation. "What was that?" said Emma, one of my friends. "It's probably just my dad playing a prank or something," I said. Although this whole situation was kind of freaking me out, my dad had done this type of thing before, so I assumed it must have been him. We were beginning to calm down when suddenly another forceful knock came upon the window. This made some of my friends scream. I assured everyone that, like I said, it was probably just my dad being goofy. So I went over to the window to catch him red-handed.
Uh-oh.
The curtains were closed, so I had to pull a section of them back to see who was outside. As I did, I came face to face with a man who was most certainly not my dad. This man was bald with very thin eyebrows, and he had a missing tooth. He was sort of hunched over, and he looked at me with widened, glassy eyes. I immediately screamed and closed the curtain. At this point, my friends and I were pretty hysterical, and Emma began visibly shaking in fear. My parents were upstairs, so instinctively, I ran up to find them. As I got upstairs, my mom was talking to someone from her window. I didn't quite catch their conversation, but she told me what happened soon after.
What?
She said that she heard the knocking too, and when she looked out of her window to see who it was, the man looked up and asked her if she had seen a friend of his. I can't remember the name of the guy she said she was looking for, so we'll call him Paul. He kept asking for him over and over. Have you seen Paul? Where is Paul? Has Paul been here? Of course, my mom said she didn't know anyone named Paul.
The heck is Paul?
Eventually, she had to ask him to leave us alone, as he just kept wandering around our driveway. As the man finally left, I went back downstairs to calm my friends down. In retrospect, I feel bad for leaving them alone down there when some weird stranger was on our property. We all settled back down after that. However, my mom's maternal instincts kicked in, so she wanted to make sure he was gone completely. She left briefly to go around the block in her car to make sure he wasn't still in the area.
Gosh, son.
The street was dimly
She should have called the cops.
lit by impractical
She should've
streetlights,
called the
so she
cops.
had to put her high beams on. As she was driving, she saw someone dash across the middle of the road. Thinking it was just a kid, she just kept driving until the man who was at our window appeared again. But this time, he practically jumped in front of my mom's car. My mom quickly slammed on the brakes, but before she could confront him, he disappeared off into the night. We never found out who that guy was or what his true intentions were, and thankfully, we never saw him again. So much for wanting to make a good impression.
How to make sticker with sticker.
We're not trying to get copyrighted, man. I'm not trying to get strike.
My friend Jake slept over at my house one night when we were 12, and because of that, he may have possibly saved my life.
Oh,
It was a snowy weekend
it's a
night.
nice house.
We watched a couple Christmas movies in my living room.
Hey.
My mom would bring us snacks and hot cocoa. She was always really nice to my
Snacks.
friends when I had them over. My mom had to go to sleep kind of early because she worked. She and my dad had just recently divorced.
Now that's
By
sad.
around 12, Jake and I went to my room, where we played Pokemon on our Game Boy Advances for a little. I don't remember much after that, besides falling asleep a little while later. I woke up in my bed to the room being extremely cold, and also feeling really thirsty. I went to the kitchen downstairs to get a cup of water. I noticed how much colder it had become upstairs as opposed to downstairs. I went back to my bed and tucked myself in. As I lay there trying to fall back asleep, I realized Jake was breathing weird, like a deeper, heavier breathing. It went on for some time, and after making a note of it in my head, it was all I could focus on. So I eventually threw a pillow at him. As he woke up, I told him to stop breathing so loud. He was confused as he looked up at me in my bed. He said, "What are you talking about?" I told him to just lower the volume of his breathing noises, as he was borderline snoring.
What?
Jake shifted his focus from me to down below my bed, and then he screamed.
Oh,
He
freak.
crawled backwards until his back was pushing up against my dresser. I yelled, "What is it?" I hopped off my bed and looked under it where he was staring at. There was a middle-aged man with long hair laying underneath my bed, and he had his finger up to his lips saying, "Shh." It was a
Man, if you
surreal
don't get
sight.
your sleepy behind up from under my bed, you supposed to be scary and you over there sleeping. The boogeyman took a nap. Dumb behind. Scary Saturdays are fun, Eddie. You make more. Hey, I appreciate it, man. This guy supposed to be the boogeyman, but he's sleeping on a job. Y'all stab him, man. Stab the boogie. Stab this guy, son. He deserved to get slapped or stabbed or whatever the heck needs to happen to him. He's not. Nah. How you gonna be under the bed and fall asleep?
To say the least. I felt like my heart was beating 200 beats per minute. The man whispered, "I know your mom. I'm here to see her."
Huh?
He started crawling out from under the bed. At that same moment, Jake and I ran from the room, screaming for
He's a
my
booty
mom.
call? Hold on. I know your mom. Nah, he's lying, baby. He's lying. You know his... You don't... Get out... What? This is... I did not expect that. Everything could have happened, but I know your mom. What? Oh, his mom is divorced. Did she divorce the dad for him? Let's figure it out. Let's see.
We got to my mom's room and locked her bedroom door behind us. She was immediately distressed and confused by our screams. I barely had enough time to yell, "There's a man under my bed," before the doorknob to my mom's room started twisting and shaking. Then the sounds of the doorknob failing to turn shifted to heavy, aggressive bangs at the door. My mom ran to her phone and called 911. She was on the phone already in tears, while also screaming at the man on the other side of the door to leave us alone. The man tried kicking the door in, but I think when he heard my mom on the phone, he left the house. We were all in shock. It took the police only a couple minutes to arrive, at which point the coast was clear. The biggest window in our house, which was the window to the upstairs spare bedroom, was lifted up completely, which explained the cool air entering the house upstairs. That also explained the man's point of entry. I told my mom that man claimed he knew her, but she had no idea who this man could have been.
I knew it.
My mom dropped Jake off home, and then she and I slept at my aunt and uncle's house for the rest of the night. The next day, my uncle installed a stronger lock on that upstairs window. This was like 16 years ago now. At this point, it's just a distant, haunting memory. But we never figured out who that man could have been, or how he could have possibly known my mother.
Talking about he know your mom. He's lying, man. That was funny. Hey, these aren't as scary as they sound. Like, so far, there's been some kind of comedic relief in each and every one of these stories, man. Like, imagine the guy that's behind, like, under your bed. No, I know your dad. Okay, then what's his name? If you don't know his name, I'm gonna stab you or pop you. Either one. This is crazy. Like, what if a movie, like, what if they had a movie that was like that, like the Boogeyman that haunted everybody but didn't do his job right, or some stupid crap like that. Okay, on to the next. Hopefully this one is scarier than the previous video. But we have 4 creepy true gas station horror stories. I don't know what could be the horror except for, somebody robbing the gas station, because that's pretty scary, at gunpoint. I have had a couple people tell me about their horror stories themselves where they were held up at gunpoint. And man, in that situation, it's very scary because the person could shoot you even after you give them the money. Like, I've seen videos, very unfortunate videos with people getting popped even if they would give the person the money. It's just brutal. But nevertheless, let's see what kind of horror stories Mr. Nightmare has for us. Gosh, what's wrong with that thing? All right. Robert Clark.
Years ago, I did the night shift at a gas station because I was strapped for cash and needed a second job. I worked the night shift there for a few months. It was around my 2nd or 3rd month that this guy started regularly coming in really late at night, always around 2 a.m.
Oh, yeah,
He was about 6 feet tall. He had long, stringy hair. He'd always come in, buy a tall boy, and leave. But after a while, he one night asked me my name. I told him my name, and he just kept saying, "Rob, I like that," as he'd laugh to himself. He cracked open the tall boy he just bought, and walked out of the store talking to himself. He was clearly hammered.
I'm quitting.
This was the night I was curious to see if he had been drinking and driving every single time that he'd come to the store. I watched as he left, and he walked out of sight off the gas station property. That would make sense. He never once bought gas anytime he came in. He'd always just buy alcohol. I'd seen him just about every night after that for a while. He'd come in, some nights noticeably drunker than others, and sometimes he'd just lean on one of the shelves for a while and not say anything. He'd always greet me with a hey Rob anytime he'd come in. One night he was just leaning on a shelf, drinking the tall boy he just bought, not saying anything, just staring at a wall. I asked him for his name finally. He looked at me, took about 5 seconds, and said Bob. Now I always felt like Bob is a go-to fake name when you're lying about your name. I wondered if the first thing that came to mind for him was Bob because it rhymes with my name, but I went with it. I said, "So Bob, where do you work?" He laughed so loud it actually startled me. He said he doesn't work. He said the government completely fucked him out of his job. I got the vibe he was wasted again. He looked at me with an angry looking face, but interestingly said, "I like you, Rob. You seem like you know what you're doing." I didn't know what that meant,
What are you
but he
talking
walked
about?
out of the store right after that.
Hey, man.
I didn't see him again for a while. I'd say over a week passed, which for a regular like him was a while. Bob always gave me this off, mildly creepy vibe. I figured he was usually drunk, but something was obviously wrong in his personal life.
Yeah, most
Well,
definitely.
one very stormy night,
Woo!
with less customers than usual, likely because of the storm, I heard the ding of the front door as someone entered, and I swear before looking I imagined it to be Bob, and when I looked, I was shocked to see it was actually him. But it was a much scarier version of Bob. He was completely soaked. He wasn't wearing a rain jacket or using an umbrella. He was just in a dark shirt and jeans. His long hair was drenched. He was just standing by the door, looking straight ahead at the wall. He looked like he was angry, and yet his mind was elsewhere, like his thoughts were running. The way he was standing there blankly, staring at nothing, completely soaked, it was freaking me out. I said, "Bob, are you okay?" He didn't turn his head or move. He stood still and said, "I did something really bad." I asked, "What did you do?"
Me. Don't tell
Then
me.
looked
I don't want to know. La, 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 la. Don't tell me. Like, bro, don't get me involved. Now he want to tell me he killed somebody? Nah, Bob, listen, bro. Whatever you want to tell me, keep it to yourself, man. And then buy a beer. It's on the house this time. You know, you wet, whatever. I'll give you, take it on the house. But, hey, I don't want to know, man. Don't, please, just tell me nothing. Don't share no information. I'm not trying to hear that, Bob. Please. Because once he tell you, now he's going to be like, oh, first of all, I don't want to hear that he killed somebody. So if he did, I really don't want to hear that because it might be me next.
Looked at me, said, "I need somewhere to hide," then walked past me at the register towards the little restroom hallway. He disappeared behind the wall, and I heard one of the doors open and close. I was genuinely getting uncomfortable with Bob now. I didn't enjoy his presence whenever he was in the store, and tonight something was extra off about him. He seemed like a zombie, and that "I did something really bad" comment was incredibly creepy. Some time passed, and Bob never came out from the bathroom. I assumed he was wasted again, probably passed out or puking. Either way, I didn't want to intervene. And then, the next thing I remember, the lights to the place cut out, and the store was completely dark. I was standing in a pitch-dark gas station during a major storm with an unhinged drunk man. I used the flashlight from behind the counter to make my way towards the back of the store by the inventory storage and the panel board.
Do you have a weapon?
The door to the back was in the same little hallway as the restrooms. As I walked by the 2 restroom doors, both of them were ajar, and Bob wasn't in either of them. I went through the door to the back. I was planning on going straight to the panel board, but I stopped when I heard a slight dripping in the room somewhere, and the squeaking of wet shoes. My heart sank into my stomach. I said, "Bob," in a very weak and scared voice.
Don't
I
sound
heard
weak.
squeaks right to my left. When I pointed my flashlight in that corner, There was Bob, with his eyes opened wide, and he lunged at me and started screaming, "I'm gonna fucking kill you." I pushed him off of me as he was clawing at my back.
What?
I ran back through the door to the front of the store. He didn't follow me. I grabbed my rain jacket and ran straight to my car. I sat in my car as I dialed 911 and spoke to an operator. I stayed on the line with her, and it didn't take long for a couple police officers to arrive and go inside with me.
Great.
Bob was still hiding in the back room, huddled in a corner, apparently like some rabid creature. His pupils were huge. I only noticed it then. He was on something.
He was on
They
something.
took him to the station after I told them that he lunged at me, threatened to kill me, and stated that he did something really bad earlier. I found out over a month later that this Bob guy's real name was Martin. He had brutally beaten his ex-wife to death. It might have happened on that same night that he came into the gas station.
No.
Long story short, I never wanted to work another night shift at any job ever again after this night.
Yeah, those night shifts are crazy. Honestly, night shifts anywhere could be very dangerous.
Everyone in my family went on a...
Being out at night, that's just how it is. Crazy people are out, you know? People get strangely evil when it's at night.
I've done a lot of night driving in my life. Not for work or anything. My old friend group and I would always just stay out till crazy hours when we were in our late teens and early 20s. I guess you could say we were the losers. We thought staying out till 5 a.m. every weekend hanging at parks or in parking lots was cool. Looking back, it was a stupid waste of time. But basically for that reason, I've done my fair share of driving at off hours in the night. And usually that's when the drunkos and crazy people are on the roads. It was a weekend night. It had to be approaching 4 in the morning. I wanted to go home. I drove one of my friends home from the park we were hanging out at. And before driving myself home, I had to stop for gas. I used to like getting gas at night because there would be no other cars in the way. I pulled into one of my usual gas stations not far from my parents' house. As I was walking to the building to pay, there was a short guy wearing a hood walking past me. He stopped in his tracks and stared me down as I walked past. I said, "What?" as I kept walking. He said nothing, so I kept walking. Typical crackhead. I went inside the building to pay the attendant for my gas. I also bought a lottery ticket while I was there. I came back outside and started to fill up. I looked around, and as expected, it was a ghost town at this hour. Once done, I got back in the car and started driving home. Halfway home, I heard something behind me, in the car. I looked in the rearview mirror, and there was someone in the rear seat looking back at me.
Oh, frick!
I let out a scream so loud I probably almost collapsed my lungs. I slammed on the brakes and screamed, "Get out." It was the dude from the gas station. I opened my doors and started screaming help, knowing at least a couple people would come out from their houses. Sure enough, a couple houses' porch lights turned on, and I saw some doors opening. The guy got out of my car and said, "I could have slit your throat." As some people came out of their houses, he started to run away down the street. I didn't chase after him. A couple people came over to me and asked if I was alright, and I told them how a stranger was in my back seat. By now, the guy was out of sight. I wasn't about to start driving around after a crackhead. I thanked the people who came out and continued my drive home, making sure I didn't see him anywhere the rest of the drive. That was the scariest experience of my life.
I've had a couple times where I felt like somebody was in the back seat, and I would look in the rearview mirror to see, and I would think I see somebody, but nobody was, actually in the back. But I'm telling you, I promise you, I had a couple times where I really felt like somebody was in the back seat. I'm like, whoa, who's in the freaking back? And there'll be nobody there. I'm like, what the heck? Why do I feel like somebody's there? And driving in the country doesn't help at all. Like when you drive in the country at night, and I haven't done that plenty of times. I've done that a couple times. It's a scary thing for sure. Ed House.
This event happened in the mid-60s in the Atlanta area. At that time, I was about 8 or 9 years old. My father taught school in a suburb of Atlanta that was some distance from where our home was located. I went to the same school where he taught, so I rode with him every day. However, we had to get up very early each morning and head out before the sun was up. We always stopped several mornings each week to top off on gas at a small, independent station. We were often the first car there shortly after the station opened. In those days, everything was full service. There was a booth with an attendant who would come out and fill your tank, wash your windows, etc. He would always be carrying a wad of bills in his pocket and a device on his belt from which he counted out coins. Behind the pumps were tiny bathrooms. I would often use the bathroom on mornings that we stopped there, as it was a fairly long drive. One morning, we again arrived before dawn to find the station completely deserted. It was totally quiet other than the traffic sounds going by. There was no sign of an attendant, either in the booth or anywhere else around the station. My father blew the car horn once, then again a few more times, but there was no response. We discussed what might be the problem. My father first suggested that perhaps the attendant might be in the bathroom, but when he still did not appear, my father said that maybe the attendant had experienced car trouble and had not been able to make it to work on time. We continued to wait for several minutes. No other cars pulled in. I told my father I needed to use the bathroom and put my hand on the car door handle to get out, but he told me that we could not wait any longer and I could use the bathroom at the next station we came to. So we left, still wondering what happened. A day or two later, my father was reading the local newspaper when I heard a loud exclamation from him. He excitedly told my mother and I about a small article which stated that the body of a gas station attendant had been discovered with multiple stabs stuffed into the men's bathroom of the station. It was the station we always went to. The article said the motive appeared to be robbery, as all cash and coins were missing. Early in the morning, the total amount of money was probably not a lot. The article gave no hint as to what amount was taken, but either way, that didn't stop the killer. I've often wondered how I would have been affected at that young age if I had insisted on going to the bathroom at that station and had opened the door to discover the body of the murdered attendant. We never went to that gas station again.
Julia. Wow, he could have seen a dead body. Wow. Julia and Jolie.
This took place when I was 25. I was driving from North to South Texas, and due to my work schedule, I could only do this late at night. I was on Route 281 for much of the drive, and at these late hours, it was an easy, straight drive. I just had to keep myself awake. I was already kind of shot from work, and then getting on the road right after was brutal.
Tough.
I had to keep making stops for coffee at random gas stations just to keep myself going. I think it was my third time starting to feel a little sleepy, and on top of that, I needed to fill up my tank as well. I pulled into the first gas station I could find on the desolate side roads. I can't remember what kind of gas station it was, maybe a Sunoco or Shell. There was one other car in the parking lot. I parked next to one of the pumps and went inside. There were two people in the shop, the cashier, and then I noticed another guy pacing down the aisles. I went to the coffee maker and poured myself a cup. The guy who was pacing around came up to me and said, "Careful, it's hot," and then he laughed. It was a piss-poor, creepy, unnecessary attempt at starting a conversation that I didn't bite at. I was not in the mood. I didn't reply, and I took the coffee to the cashier where I paid for it as well as for the gas. The guy came up behind me while I was paying and said, "I really like that top." I said thank you just loud enough for him to hear. He followed it up with, "Where are you heading off to so late at night?"
Hey.
I was so annoyed by this point, I firmly asked him to leave me alone. The cashier was some 40-something-year-old Hispanic man. I wasn't sure how much English he understood, or if he was even reading the situation that was happening in front of him. But he was also a smaller, shorter man, and it was doubtful he was going to step in at all. The man behind me said calm down after I asked him to leave me alone. I left the shop without saying another word and went to my car. I heard the door open again a few seconds after I left the shop. I was next to my car now, preparing to fill up the tank. As gas started pumping into my car, I heard his footsteps on the concrete over on the other side of the pumps. Then they stopped. When the footsteps stopped, I glanced over, and I noticed him, creepily standing on the other side of the pump I was using. He was quite literally just standing there watching me. He wasn't filling up gas. There wasn't even a car there. I started considering grabbing my pepper spray from my center console.
Yo, pour.
The guy
Take out the gas and spray him. Do that.
Said, "Are you alone?" When he asked that, the gravity of the situation escalated greatly. I replied, "No, my boyfriend is in the car." I opened the door and quickly grabbed the pepper spray from the center console. I grabbed it and held it at my side, pretending to still be focused on pumping the gas. The man was inching his way around the gas pump, like he was coming around to my side. He said, "I don't see anyone in the car." I pulled out the pepper spray and aimed it up at the man, and he laughed and backed away. He said he was just trying to make conversation. He was walking backwards with his focus locked onto me still. I was just about done pumping gas. Then I felt and heard a clank. The gas stopped pumping. My tank was full. I had like $6 worth of change. I had to go back inside to get it.
Forget it.
The man was in between the shop and I.
Forget it.
I had to make a choice. I made the decision to get my change.
Dummy.
I had my arm up in the air still, pointing the pepper spray can at him. He continued to back away, chuckling. When it was safe, I turned my back to him and entered the shop and asked the cashier for change. I told the cashier that that man was making me really uncomfortable, but it seemed like he didn't really understand what I was saying. Once I got my change, I looked out the glass door into the parking lot before leaving. I didn't see that man out there. I was scared to go out there. Like, what if you were hiding somewhere? I stepped outside in front of the shop. I didn't leave that little sidewalk. I just stayed there, looking around. That man was gone, out of sight, which meant he was absolutely hiding. Eventually, a pickup truck pulled into the parking lot and pulled next to one of the pumps. A large man with a beard stepped out, and I went over to him asking him for help. I asked him to check if there was a man hiding behind my car. He was confused, but he did it for me. He got to the other side of my car, and he yelled, "What are you doing?" And there went that creepy man, hurrying away from behind my car. He started to run away into the darkness surrounding the gas station. I thanked that man so much, and he said in his thick southern accent to be careful out there. I left that parking lot in a hurry, and I continued the rest of my drive.
Wow.
That creepy man was 100% waiting to pounce as soon as I unlocked my car doors.
Yup, he was about to get her. He was about to get that lady. He was waiting. Good thing, hey, the big black, or not black, but the big guy with the beard, he was out there to, to help her out. Cause yeah, if he wasn't there, she was gonna get got. This guy was trying to take advantage of her, and we don't know what he was trying to do, but I guess he liked what he saw, so he was coming after her. We into the last video, man. We're into the last video of the live stream. Appreciate you guys for rocking with me. For those who are still in the chat, we got Benny, and I don't know who else is in here. But, man, definitely if you're watching the playback, make sure you smash the like button. And if you're new, subscribe. 3 true sneaking out horror stories. Now, I've never snuck out of the house. I never had a reason to. Like, I wasn't your typical... Yes, sir, I see you, Benny. I wasn't your typical high school, sneak out to parties or hang out with friends. Never did that. Never thought it was a good idea. I don't know why people thought it was a good idea, but I was never one to do that. Didn't sneak out to go get some late night snacks. I didn't sneak out. I stayed in the house. Me, I just knew it was danger. Like, I knew danger was out there. I was well aware what could happen going out at night as a high school or whatever. I just used my brains and didn't really do anything that I know would put me in a bad situation. Naturally, I did that. So let's get straight to this video of 3 true sneaking out horror stories. Let's see what happens to these people.
My aunt and uncle live in Fort Myers, Florida.
Oh, beautiful.
Every winter we visit them for a weekend just to see them and escape the cold. This has been a long-time tradition, dating back to when they first moved there, about 15 years ago. So we'd been doing this almost as long as I could remember. This happened back when I was 12.
Beautiful beaches over there.
My cousin Ashley, who was a year older than me, would always be there, of course. so the two of us would hang out a lot during these visits. She was cool to hang out with, and I related to her a lot, even though I was a young boy and she's a girl. She'd always be down to do the cool stuff that I'd normally do with my friends at that age. After the family dinner on the first night there, we all watched a movie together. After the movie, our parents hung out with each other in the kitchen drinking wine. They wouldn't let Ashley and I go out that late, as we were only 12 and 13.
Of course!
But Ashley wanted to go to a nearby canal, where locals were apparently reporting having seen a 10-foot-long alligator. Basically, we both wanted to go see if we could find the gator after she convinced me.
Come on, man.
We snuck out through the back door while our parents were still in the kitchen. On our way to the canal, we stopped at the 7-Eleven on the street so we could get some snacks on the way.
Get some snacks.
The cashier already told us
you
to
gonna
be
get
careful
ate
out
up
there, implying it was
as
late
a
for us to
snack.
be out. The streets were deserted at this hour. The area of Fort Myers in which they live is on the significantly quieter side. We walked for like 10 minutes, and the closer we got to this canal she kept talking about, the swampier the sides of the road started to get. Ashley froze in front of me and looked straight ahead. She pointed ahead and said, "What's that guy doing?" I saw right away what she meant. At the far end of the street, there was the silhouette of this man just standing completely still on the sidewalk.
Woo!
If he was walking or perhaps looking down at something in his hands, it would have been different.
Lord!
Him just standing still doing nothing, apparently looking off straight ahead. It just sent shivers down both our spines. Ashley said this was the only way to get to the canal, unless we cut through people's yards or
Bro,
gross
go back
sewage type
home,
water.
man.
So we continued walking, but slower, more cautious now. We were half the distance from the man now, when he suddenly turned around. I don't mean he turned his head. No, he literally turned his whole body around at once without even taking a peek to see if we were coming first or anything. We stopped. He was facing us, no doubt. There was a bit of a standoff for a few seconds before he lifted his arm and started waving at us. It wasn't a normal, gentle wave of a hand. No, he was waving his whole arm. It soon transitioned into him making a come here motion with his arm. Ashley and I looked at each other, then started running away down the street, back the way we came. We got winded pretty quickly and stopped to catch our breath in front of some small yellow house. We sat on the grass of the property for a second, just gathering our thoughts. Ashley told me there are a lot of weird people that live down there, especially in the area we were just walking. Now I understood why her parents didn't want her out this late alone.
Of course, you like, come on,
We got up
man.
after a couple minutes and started walking back to her house.
It's
We
obvious.
saw him again. That guy was at the end of the street, not moving once again. He was as still as he was before. His same exaggeratedly stiff, arms flat side posture. He was directly under a streetlight this time, so we could see his features. He was like 40. His hair seemed to be slightly slicked back. His nose seemed to be fucked up, like it was bent to the side. He was smiling
Dang,
too.
he had the
He
alfalfa
wasn't showing
joint.
teeth though, it was a closed-mouthed smile. He once again started waving at us. Then, I still don't know why, Ashley got up and waved back at him. As she did this, he stopped waving and his smile disappeared. It was only a few seconds later that he erupted into a full-on sprint towards us. Ashley started screaming and running. I got up off the ground and ran as fast as I could after her. I was in pure shock. I think that's why I couldn't get a scream out. That and it would take extra breath that I didn't have.
Exactly, that's extra
We
energy.
ran through people's yards, hopped over fences, and ran down different streets until we finally made it back to her house. The back door was locked now, so unfortunately we had to knock on the door,
Yeah,
exposing
dummies.
us.
Dummies.
Trying to avoid getting in trouble, we simply said we ran to 7-Eleven to get snacks. While Ashley's parents were more upset than mine, they let us off with just a slap on the wrist, telling us not to go out again at that hour. That man's face lit up under that streetlight still terrifies me to this day, 10 years later.
Man, I don't know why people like putting themselves in danger, but some people think it's just fun to do. I don't get it. I really don't. I don't want to almost get bit by a alligator. I don't want to almost get got by a random bro. Why?
My two friends and I were having a sleepover on one of the last summer nights before the new
Dumb
school year
decision.
started.
Exactly.
We didn't want to end it on a dull note, so we decided later that night that we would sneak out and walk about a mile to our local high school. We live in a small town in the middle of bumfuck Massachusetts, so everything is close. Around 12 a.m., both my friends and I left the house and started making our way to the high school. The way there was uneventful, just us walking down the road laughing, sometimes yelling, just being typical dumb teenagers like always. We walked in the middle of the road because it was late and there was hardly any traffic in general. It took about 20 minutes to make it to the high school, where all we did was lay on the turf field, look up at the stars, and talk about the summer, as well as other stupid shit that made us laugh. We actually had such a good time that we laid there for almost an hour, so when we decided to walk back, it was close to 1 o'clock. As we made our way down the road back home, we approached a T intersection. That's where we saw a car. We noticed the car was just sitting there at the stop sign, which was on our side of the road. We could only see the headlights because the rest of the car was blocked by a row of trees.
Go discover and see who's
No
in
cars
there.
were coming either. Of course, it was 1 o'clock in the morning, but the car didn't move.
Hey, somebody
It just
might be
sat
getting
there.
freaky in the back seat.
My friends and I continued to
You don't
approach
know.
the intersection. Suddenly, the car slowly moved further out of the intersection, turned in our direction, and began driving past us. We made out the car to be an old white Mustang. As it passed, my friend yelled something stupid about the car being a V6, making fun of it. It was funny for about 0.8 seconds until the vehicle slammed on the brakes. I felt my heart go into my throat
That's what you
as the
get.
car peeled into a fast U-turn.
That's what you
I
get.
yelled to my friends, "Run," and we all ran down the street. We ran onto the joining road where we first saw the car coming out of. As soon as I made it near the row of trees, I jumped into the woods. So did my friends a few yards down the road. We had about 3 seconds to spare before the car turned down the road. He started slow rolling down the street like he was looking for us, and when he didn't see us, he stopped. Out stepped 2 large men, one holding a massive rod. I muttered "fuck" under my breath as I hid in the leaves.
That's what y'all get,
They
man.
began walking towards the
Yeah, I
tree
think
line.
it's all funny
I
until they
quietly
get
covered
real.
my mouth to conceal my breathing. My heart was beating so fast and hard I felt like they would hear it too. The driver, who had a big metal rod in his hand, yelled threats at us into the woods. He continued looking into the woods, along with his buddy. I could feel their eyes pass me over and over again. They just stood there, watching, listening for one of us to make a sound. If he walked only a few more yards from the tree line into the woods, he would find me. His buddy said, "Fuck it, let's go," as he started walking back to the passenger side of the car. "There'll be others out," he said. The driver took one last look into the woods and hopped into his car. The car turned around and took off back down the road past the high school leading out of town. I stayed in the woods for another couple of minutes, waiting to see if the car would come back, which it didn't. I stepped out, along with my friends further down the road, and we all ran all the way home. We made it back and tried to enjoy the rest of our night. We tried to laugh about it later, but deep down, we knew how scary that was. We thought it was just another crazy experience until 2 days later, when we found out through some local friends of ours that a white Mustang was stolen and involved in a robbery from the next town over, the same night we were chased. I could only imagine what would have happened if those 2 men decided to walk further into the woods.
Y'all would have got left in the woods. That's what would have happened. Y'all would have got laid down.
There's a powerful voice inside you.
This is not a game, man. Them kids playing games outside. It was about to be over for them. 100%. See, and that's another reason why, you can encounter people after a crime and they can be like, "Oh, we got a freebie right here. Let's go ahead and get that one," as we're on the road,
When I was 16, I had a curfew. I wasn't allowed out past 12 on the weekends. My friend Jose was lucky enough to not have a curfew.
Jose!
It was a Saturday in 2013. My parents were asleep. Jose wanted to go explore some abandoned hospital across town, so I snuck out of my room very quietly and tiptoed down the stairs.
I'm just tired of
I
hearing this
exited through the back
stupidity.
door and grabbed my bike from the shed, then I left on my way to Jose's house. From there, I met him and we rode across town. It took about 10 minutes. I followed him the whole way, until we ended up at this fenced-off property. Inside of the perimeter was this tall brick building. It didn't look that old. It was once an active hospital many years ago. The town just never bothered to tear it down. We parked our bikes in a big bush out of sight. Next step was hopping the fence, which was easy. The third step was finding a way into the building. We scanned the perimeter by walking around the building, until we found a basement-level window that was already broken open. Jose went in first. I shined my flashlight
I'm
into the window
disappointed in
for him so
Jose,
he
man.
could see. It looked a little scary down there, considering how dark it was. Nevertheless, I wasn't going to bitch out now. It was my turn to enter while
Hey,
he
I don't
held
care
the
what
light.
y'all call it. Be out, punk out. I'm out. Like, I don't care what you scared. Hey, I'm smart. That's what I am. I'm a smart guy. Da, 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 da. Like, bro, this is an easy decision. Yeah, ain't no peer pressure at that age. Was gonna convince me to go inside there. Like, you could say anything you want. Fine, whatever. If I make it home and you don't, what you gonna do now? You know?
Once we were in and both had our flashlights on, though, it was pretty well lit. There wasn't much in this basement level we entered into. It seemed to be mostly for storage and boiler type rooms. We found a stairway upstairs, and once we went through this rusty door, we were on the main floor in this hallway that still had some of the lights on. It sounds weird, but having some of the hospital lights still on just made this more eerie. Like we were a little more worried about running into someone. It's not like the whole place was lit up. There would be like one light on here and one light on down the hall, with lots of pitch black corners and dark gaps in between. There was also this loud buzzing, whistling sound that we couldn't pinpoint. It was kind of creepy. We started exploring by taking a look into each little room. Most of the expensive stuff seemed to be cleared out, like the beds and equipment. The place was kind of clean for an abandoned building, though. It seemed not many people explored it. That or just previous people didn't trash it. Though there were some holes in the walls, and some things thrown on the floors, as expected. There was one room with the door closed. We tried opening it, but it was locked. Extremely weird considering every other door was opened. Jose had a good point though. Patients' sleeping room doors aren't permitted to have locks on them, so that meant something was blocking the door. We also heard noises on the other side of the door, like very, very light thump sounds. We went into the adjacent room, and there were a bunch of tiny holes in the walls. There was one hole in the wall adjacent to the next room over with the blocked door, a hole big enough to look through. I quietly got on my knees to look through it. My eyes had to adjust to the darkness, but after a second, I could see a woman in a long white dress, leaning on the far wall, seemingly looking at the door to the room. I was truly about to piss myself after seeing her. I whispered to Jose to look. He didn't believe me, but when he looked through the door, he gasped. We whispered to each other, wondering if we should get out.
Yeah,
Jose
you
said
should.
yes. He stood up and went to the door to the room. I got on my knees one more time to look through the hole again. As I put my eye up to the hole, the entire room was now blocked, because the woman had gotten on her knees and was looking through the hole back at me with this huge smile on her face. I screamed so loud it definitely echoed throughout the whole building.
Lord.
Jose didn't even ask why, he just ran for it with me back to the way we came in the basement. He crawled up through the window first, then me. The whole time I was trying to squeeze through the window, I was scared she was going to come up behind me and pull my legs back in. When we were both outside, we ran for our bikes and pedaled all the way back to Jose's. We didn't laugh about it at all. It genuinely was nightmare fuel. I went straight home after saying bye to him. I didn't feel safe being anywhere but inside my house, in my bed. I don't believe in ghosts, so I don't believe that was a ghost. I believe there was actually some psychotic woman in there. But all I'm saying is if I did believe in ghosts, I would 100% believe that's what I saw in that room.
Well, hey man. Dumb decisions will get you into some crazy situations. Man, oh man, let's turn on the lights. Man. You know what I'm thinking about doing with the Scary Saturdays vids? Now, I try to avoid getting copyright strike and, demonetized and all that good stuff. But we might look into some actual movies and stuff like that for the next one. I got to see where I can get some to where I won't get striked or, penalized for showing them. Most likely it probably will happen. So I don't know if I can get around that, but I'm going to try something. But nevertheless, man, I appreciate you guys for rocking with me, man. It's been another Scary Saturdays. Like I said, if you haven't already, make sure you turn on your notification bell so you know when I go live. More lives coming, different lives, are coming. So stay tuned for that. If you're new, subscribe. It's free. If you like gaming, go to the gaming channel, Eddyed Gaming. I do games over there. We're live tomorrow as well. I appreciate the love and support. Benny said, glad you're back on YouTube. Yeah, man, appreciate it. Like I say, a lot's been going on. YouTube's been penalizing me for some things. So, and then I have some other outside issues. Just a lot of different stuff. You guys are gonna get updates. You guys are gonna get more videos. But just for now, just thank you guys for being patient. But like I say, if you're new to the channel, subscribe is free. If you like the gaming, go to the gaming channel, Eddyed Gaming, and then I have the vlogging channel there as well. Some pretty interesting content is going to come out probably in the next couple months on the vlogging channel. I got some stuff that I'm planning to do there. Skits are coming too. Skits, I promise you, I was working on one of the skits, editing the skits, because I do all my editing stuff. I edit all my videos. But I was doing one of the skits, and my editing software, I don't know what happened or why, it just stopped working. So I'm trying to figure out how to fix it. As soon as I figure out how to fix it, and as soon as I get it fixed, we got skits coming, guys. So if you guys want to see some skits, stay tuned for that. And that's pretty much it. Holy Duo Podcast. I also got a podcast channel. It's called Holy Duo on YouTube, HD. So if you want to check out more content with me in it, or other content that I'm doing, all the links are down in the description right now. So if you go to the show notes or the description, you can find all the links to the channels I just gave you guys. Let me see. I don't know if Holy Duo. All the links are there. So go ahead and check it out if you want more content. We just actually did a live yesterday on the Holy Duo channel. So check that out as well if you like podcasts and stuff. So yeah, plenty of content, guys. But I am back on YouTube once more. Be doing more lives, doing more content here in the near future. Tomorrow, I think I'm gaming tomorrow. So if you like gaming, go to the gaming channel. All right, enough with the announcements. I appreciate you guys for rocking with your mans. It's been a fun, scary Saturdays. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys enjoyed, most definitely. And I'll see you guys here again on another live stream. I'll be sending out notifications so you guys can catch me if you can. And that's about it, man. Let me see if anybody want to say something for the last, and then I'll be out of here. There's only 2 of you guys in here, or probably 1. Let me see. Well, without further ado, appreciate you guys for rocking with me. Catch you guys next live stream. Peace.